It's pronounced Coven. Coven sounds like oven, man. Jesus told me so. Hey, everybody. That was, this is Brett out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. We are going to be spoiling a, documentary / movie called American Movie. I don't know if you've heard of it or not, but I think you should check it out. But I guess we'll decide that later. But let's see. Let's go from, let's introduce everybody. East to West. Let's do that. So I guess that'd be Josh.
I'm Eastus now.
So let's you go ahead and say who you are, and where you're recording from, and I don't know, your favorite documentary.
Oh, well, I make mini docs. This is Josh Long, so my favorite are mine own. But
cool flex, bro.
Well, speaking of documentaries, it made me hesitate when you said documentary ? At the top of the podcast, Brett. Like, as far as I was watching this movie, everything was 1,000% true. Is that not right?
Yeah, I think so.
So why did you hesitate calling it a documentary?
I don't know. It just seemed more like a. Never mind. I don't know. So go ahead, Josh. So are you really going to go with? You going to go with yours?
No, my favorite documentary is definitely Troll Hunter.
Troll. I thought this was the second documentary, so technically you've done 3 then?
Or is it Troll Hunter is definitely like a mockumentary, like Blair Witch would be. But I like that answer because that movie is so fun and campy, so I'll stick with it.
Okay, so I guess that leaves us to Stevie.
Hey there, this is Stevie recording from Elkhart. Favorite documentary? That's a tough one. I've seen a lot of them.
We just saw Beach Bum, Stevie.
What's that?
We just saw Beach Bum.
It's true. I got to see Matthew McConaughey's natural habitat. I'd probably say... I'll just say the recent one I really enjoyed. I wouldn't say recent, but it came out in the past few years, was Won't You Be My Neighbor? The documentary about Mr. Rogers. That was a tremendous movie. So I'll say that one, man. Great documentary. It's what it's all about.
That came out in 2018.
Yeah.
So not that long ago. All right, cool. That was Apple Cider Stevie. And now we're coming to Pappy.
Yep, this is Pappy, recording from Louisville, Colorado. By my math, this is the 3rd actual documentary we've done. We did Hire, and we did Jim and Andy way back in the day.
Yeah.
By the same guy.
Yeah, so my favorite documentary, that was a tough one. I liked 3 Identical Strangers last year, but I'll pull a Brett and say a couple. I also really like the Heart of Darkness, the Apocalypse Now documentary, and one we were just talking about in the thread called The SmithBox, which is the making of Emperor's New Groove. It is one of the movies that like enhances the movie watching experience more than any other. Like, it is a crazy ass production. And Stevie, I don't know if you recommended it to me or I recommended it to you, but I know you've seen it and it's fucking bananas.
You definitely recommended it to me, and it is terrifying because it literally ruined a man's career and his life. So definitely check that movie out.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
What about Bowling for Columbine? I bet that's Brett's.
Any Michael Moore vehicle is Brett's favorite.
I've never seen it. He's a turd. But I guess I'm going to do the whole Josh thing and say 2. I'm going to say both of mine are probably 30 for 30s from ESPN. I really like Unguarded, which is about Chris Herron. He was a basketball player who got into drugs and his career got ruined, and now he's a motivational speaker. It's
he played for the Celtics?
Celtics, yep.
Yeah,
he went to Boston College. It's just a great, great documentary. And another one is called Once Brothers, and it is about Drazen Petrovic and Vlade Divac and kind of their stewing animosity towards each other when they played on the Yugoslavian national team. And it's a great, great movie. I don't know if you know about Drazen, but he was like the best European player ever, and he died in a car crash like his rookie or second year in the league. Josh, you know who that is? The creepy NBA Jam thing that...
What?
It says his name in one of the things, Drazen Petrovic, and it's like really creepy.
What? All
right, we'll have to look into that off air.
Can I pull a Brett and Josh and name another?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't name too many documentaries, though. You're going to hurt trivia.
I have to. Okay, this one came out recently on Netflix, and it's just called Woodstock. And it's literally just about, it's a really good kind of story in the shaping of how Woodstock came together and how the music and the people that were there really shaped 3 or 4 days of just awesomeness. Great documentary. Can't recommend that one enough.
I believe my father-in-law just watched that. He was telling me how crazy the whole thing was, and that's one I have to see.
Can I just bring up something with you choosing 230 for 30s for your favorite docs? For the listeners,
what about Catching Hell?
For the listeners, Brett is a sports dude. We had to push the pod back a week for a Packers game, and then this freaking movie is all about the Packers winning a Super Bowl. I don't think I didn't notice that, Brett.
I 100% did not know that was the case, and they showed him the first time. I was like, cool, he's got a Packer hat on.
Are you at least not watching?
I didn't know that there was going to be like 14 other references to the Packers, so.
Are you zeroed in on this pod tonight? No drafts, no Monday Night Football, no Thursday Night Football?
I got Thursday Night Football on, but it's cool, man. All right, let's get going. Okay, so I told Stevie and Pappy in the beginning, I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to take just a minute to just talk about what this documentary is about, and then we're just going to kind of riff off each other and talk about people and situations and everything. So, this is a documentary. I think it's by Chris Smith. Is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about Mark Borchardt. He's trying to make this, I think he calls a great American movie. It's called Northwestern. He's kind of writing through it. He's taken, people are coming in to act for it and everything, and he realizes it's not going to get it done. He doesn't have the money for it, and it's just not working out. So he decides to go back and finish his short story called Coven that he started working on 6 years earlier. And it's pretty much a story of him trying to make this movie, and things just keep falling through. He runs out of money. He's trying to get money from his Uncle Bill, who's just a wild character.
Uncle Bill
is giving him money, but he's never letting him forget about it because he doesn't he's kind of cheap. So it's pretty much the whole story is him making this movie and all the things that go wrong. He's got a crazy bunch of friends. I mean, Mike Schank is really funny. I'm sure we'll talk about him. I can't say what I used to say, or people used to say about him, but let's just say he's done so many drugs and alcohol, he's not as smart anymore. Let's just put it that way. He's
what
super
word
goofy.
are you dancing around?
I'm not dancing around anything.
What?
The hard R, probably.
He's burned out.
Let's go with that. Other people would say something else a few years ago, whether it was right or wrong. But yeah, Stevie kind of got it. So, and basically this movie takes almost 3 years, exactly, and they finally release it. It does well for him. He just needed to recoup $30,000, I believe, as of 2004. The movie ended up selling over 6,000 copies, which is in the 70,000. So, did pretty well. He's had a decent career out of it. Weird stuff, and that's pretty much what the story of this movie is, documentary. And it killed at Sundance. It made over $1 million in the box office, which I think is probably pretty good for an independent documentary. But
especially in the 90s, yeah.
Right. So that's pretty much all I have for that. Is there another big storyline? Oh yeah, and the Packers won the Super Bowl. I don't know if you knew that or not. They've won 4 actually, but. So, is there any other storylines you think I kind of glossed over too much that you want to bring up before we kind of start? Stevie said, there's a lot of meat to this, so I want to get into it.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers to this onion, Brett.
Yeah. Anything that stands out real quick before we get into it, or did I forget a big storyline?
A big part of the movie is that... Okay, what's Mark? Who's the lead guy's name?
Mark, yeah.
Mark.
Is a raging alcoholic. And then,
he's a nice guy. When he drinks, he's a huge dick.
Right. I don't know. I don't have a lot to say about it other than that's driving a lot of what's happening or what's not happening or questionable decision making at times.
Plus, there's some family dysfunction at a couple different levels. his parents didn't get along growing up and it really affected them. And now that they're older, his parents are like great. They can hang around each other. His uncle, like I said, is kind of weird. He's also, you kind of watch him dying on screen, as terrible as that sounds.
The poor man lives in squalor.
Oh, dude, his trailer is
it's tough to watch.
But dude, he said he's got $270,000 or something like that, dude. I wish I had that in my bank.
Well,
I do have that in my bank.
Mark's dad makes it like he implies that he was like some kind of like scholar or like some really smart guy. So I'm guessing he was like some kind of like corporate job and had like a 401k and stocks and stuff, but like he doesn't seem to have any family of his own, and he just hoards his money. And there's a whole dynamic of Mark just trying to like pry it away from him, and it's really hard to watch.
And but like just to add a more dysfunction, he's got a problem with his baby mama. That's a really weird situation. Like she hates him, and she's dated someone for 3 years, but she gets super mad at him that he won't marry her. It's super weird.
I kind of want to delve into that, Brett.
Yeah, let's get into it.
So like it's really strange because the director Chris Smith does a really good job of kind of like not dumping everything on you at once. He slowly peels back the layers, and for like a good hour of this movie, you think, man, he's the ultimate artist. You know, he's suffering for his craft. You know, it's just him. And then it turns really sad because you realize, oh, he has 3 children that are depending on him to make responsible decisions and like help them eat and buy clothes. He can't afford gas. Yeah. And he can't afford gas. But no, the movie comes first. And it's just like when you realize that he has 3 children, it's like, good God. It's really crummy.
I don't want to know Josh's opinion on this as the only father amongst us, but that moment is a fucking grenade in the movie that like really takes a lot of the lighthearted wind out of the sails.
Very much so.
They seem to like him though, and he's got a good relationship with him. He's kind of a deadbeat. Josh?
This movie is honestly like a large percentage horrifying to me. It goes back to like Uncle Bill's trailer and this director and cinematographer, and I'm pretty sure it's his voice you hear like asking questions. It is so gritty and real. It's absurd. And like Pappy said, when they introduced the kids, like I practically wanted to look away every time they were on screen. I mean, he's pretty sweet with his kids, and he gets on the level with them as he shows like multiple times, but it's just so sad how these people are just living in general. It's so sad to see the kids. Like, my God.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, I guess I'm just saying they seemed happy. They didn't seem to want for anything. And like, he's not doing he's not holding up his end of the bargain, but it seems like they don't want for anything.
One of the craziest parts with the kids is the documentarian asks, what's the last movie your dad took you to? And they go, Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It's a horror. I'm like, holy shit.
Do you guys want to make movies someday? No, it takes 100 years.
I like laughed out loud when he's sitting there with his daughter and she cusses and he's like, did you just, oh my gosh, can someone like describe that scene? Anybody? Remember that happened there?
Yeah, so he's like, did you just say shit? And she's like, no, I did not say shit. And he's like, because if I'm hearing things, I need to know.
He's like, I don't care.
She's like, you must be hearing things. And he's like, no, I have good auditory sensors.
And she starts cracking up. Like, I really, really enjoyed that. I thought that was kind of a heartfelt scene between them. Well, he's half listening.
Shit, all I can see is purple land.
Is that the first? Did you swear, man?
Purple.
I don't care. I'm just asking if I'm hearing things or I'm going to sleep because I never hear you swear.
Never swear.
I thought you said shit. Did you?
Didn't.
Huh?
No. Did I?
Yeah, you did. I just want to know because I'm thinking I don't want to be hearing things.
No.
I don't care. I'm just asking.
You're hearing things.
No, I don't. I got good auditory senses.
But to Josh's point, though, you do have a scene like where he's just having it out with the only time you see Alyssa is like from the back, and like the kids are like just standing there like while they're screaming at each other. Like that is That is hard to watch.
I know, but I can tell you I've seen it, and that stuff happens, unfortunately, way too much.
So Jody is like, I thought that was a pretty genius part of the filmmaking, Pappy, as you put it. She's a huge character in this, but clearly she didn't agree or consent to be on film. And like, there's one shot, kind of shaky camera from far away. You see her from the back, right? And that's it.
Yeah, but okay, I just want to distinct though. Jody is his new girlfriend. Alyssa is his baby mama, which we haven't talked about Jody.
I like Jody. She's nice.
She's nice. She's supportive. I don't know what she sees in Mark, and yeah, she's definitely a cougar.
Way older, yeah.
Well, Mark seems to have one. Sorry, Brett, I don't want to step on your toes here.
No, you're fine.
I think Mark has one positive thing that everyone can agree on, and that's like his tenacity.
You can't break him.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good talker too. Like he's always talking, but I think the perfect explanation for him is like was it the dad who said something like he's actually pretty smart. He's not a good student, but he always tested out pretty well. So how many people do we know like that where they were smart, they hated school, they didn't want to go to school, and they're probably successful now, even if they didn't go, didn't do well in the secondary, tertiary education. So I mean he's well spoken.
I think a lot of that, like his failures, comes back to the alcoholism. Like he's talking about how like he was 14 and like he's like that was like my favorite thing in life to do was to like get beer, go to the cemetery and film stuff. And it's like the beer was probably really it's like it's gonna fuck up your brain development. You can't be doing that.
Yeah, and it's interesting too that the director Chris Smith, he is a Milwaukee U grad, so like Mark's going into Milwaukee U to like utilize their editing system, which is just it's linear editing, so it's like antiquated for even 1999, but like he's going nuts with like film itself. I don't know, it's just ironic that they end up and there's so many connections to the university, and that's like what he never did that could have probably given him a lot more opportunity.
Yeah.
Josh, have you ever spliced film?
I've gone VHS tape to VHS tape, but I've never done actual film.
I have too. I've done that. It's weird. Concord Junior High used to have a old tape thing where you could record on another one. It was pretty awesome.
Painstaking is, I think, what you meant to say.
Yeah, like compared to what you can do now in like 2 seconds. Yeah, but like what you're talking about, Pappy, you think the drugs and alcohol maybe affected him and his brain development, but you look at him at 30 and compared to Mike at 30.
The hero of this movie.
Okay, I know. I wanted to have a huge chunk of this talking about Mike, but it can be really soon too. But like, do you think Mike did more of the hard, trippy drugs as opposed to the alcohol, and that's why he's more...
Mike did both.
Right, but like... like Pappy said, Mark was talking about he was smoking dope and drinking at 13, 14, like all the time. So it's not like he wasn't doing, but God, I can't wait to talk about the PCP story.
Well, Mike is like Mark, except he doesn't have like a passion. So he's a lot of like, why would he ever
music?
Scratch off tickets.
Music. Oh my gosh. But he makes me so happy, but so sad at the same time.
He never really has need to come out of the fog, whereas Mark has to like come up for air every once in a while to get his films done.
That's true.
I'm never drinking or using drugs again.
Are you sure about that?
I'm 100% positive.
God, I love that song that plays throughout the... It's just him kind of talking over that cool riff. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's this one scene where I think it's Thanksgiving, and Mike comes over to Mark's house, and Mark is like wasted, and Mike's got this big smile on his face, and like Mark's like, "What are you so happy about?" And then it's like cuts to the basement, and it's like a Talking Head style interview, and he's like, "I won $50 on a scratch off ticket today." And he gives the biggest like
he's so
Kevin
happy. It's like the best moment of his life.
Yeah. I love how there's a callback to that too, because he's like, "I'm not going to tell him I won $50 because they'll want to like take the $50." And then when he wins $200 like later, the first thing Mark says is, "What you gonna do with that money, bro?"
Exactly. there's still a lot more layers of Mark we can get into. Like, I mean, I thought it was kind of a cool explanation. Maybe it didn't make a lot of sense, but like why he liked horror movies more than the other movies he grew up with. I mean, he liked all other movies and stuff too, but what did he say he liked the horror movies for? Because it like showed like trees and like landscapes or something, like cool sound, or I don't remember what he said, but
one of his brothers said that they thought he was actually going to murder someone someday.
His younger brother was kind of his younger brother, like I feel like resented him, or he didn't talk very nice about him the whole time, and he said he kind of made it like, oh, Mark said he's going to be big and famous, and yeah, look at him now, but at the same time he almost seems like he's jealous of Mark the entire movie. The older one's more of just like, ugh, I was supposed to be doing this Northwestern movie. Why am I sitting around 2 years later while he's finishing Coven?
The younger brother, like, flat out says, I think he's really talented if he worked in a factory.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh.
He's like made for factory work or something like that. I was like, oh my gosh. That's brutal.
That's a crazy aspect of this film is how candid all of the individuals are with Chris Smith, whoever they're talking to, that Sarah woman who are in the credits. Like, to say that he thought that his brother was going to be a serial killer, like, his brother's going to see that. You know what I mean? There's no way he's not going to see it.
Yeah, but Pappy, there's one part of this movie that is the most candid. Do you know what I'm thinking of?
Give me a clue.
Bathtub?
Oh, with Uncle Bill?
Yes.
That's also Thanksgiving, and that's when they break out. Okay, a hilarious part of that is when Mark is drinking this. He's like, he offers Uncle Bill schnapps, and Uncle Bill's like, yeah, and they just get wasted. And then later on, Joanne comes over, and Mark goes, and it was Uncle Bill's idea. Believe you me. That's a bold-faced lie.
Listen, would it make you feel better if we get that house of schnapps?
Yeah, do that.
Would you like that?
Yes, I would.
With his peppermint schnapps?
Yeah, well, that was his idea. Not mine, believe me.
Well, I hope he doesn't pass out in there.
But the bathtub.
I don't want to talk about the bathtub. It's sad. Stevie, you talk about the bathtub.
I don't want to talk about that, dude. That whole aspect of the whole story was super sad.
Mm-hmm. I'll describe it. I'm the only father here. I can take care of this. Yeah, you see, like, how did they even set? It's a super candid shot of kind of like a crappy house's crappy bathroom. Old Uncle Bill, we're talking like 87-year-old Bill, is in the bathtub with just like one of his feet is like always hanging out, and like Mark is straight up giving him a bath and just hanging out with his nude uncle and like talking about how his armpit. And there's this one hilarious line about how they're talking about his toenail that is easily thicker than a quarter inch.
That's a thick toenail, Bill.
Should be in a science book, eh?
Anyway, it's just crazy candid. But it's like so real because like old people need to be taken care of. And this is one scene where I thought Mark looked really good in it, right?
I wonder though if there's something that they weren't showing us, like if like for Bill's dignity, like if he had some kind of accident or something, because he also washes his clothes, which I've been to a lot of Thanksgiving dinners and I've never like had a break to take a bath in between drinks and dinner. So.
Oh, we're still talking about the bath, huh?
I mean, yeah, or just the whole Thanksgiving thing that I feel like Mark really wanted to drink, and so he just gave his poor old Uncle Bill some schnapps, and so he could get drunk.
Yeah, that's probably pretty common with drinkers, I guess. Okay, sorry, I had to check something out.
You okay, Brett?
Yeah, I had to leave for a second. My wife heard something bang against the door in the garage, and I got up and grabbed a hammer and went out there, and stuff just fell.
Jeez, keep us on the line next time.
Yeah,
we'll call 911 for you.
I had my dog and I had a hammer. I'm going to jack somebody up.
Blink
my
twice if you need help, Brett.
No, we're fine. Just my protective reflexes had to go. I had to leave. Sorry.
Brett, while you were gone, we really just broke down the bathroom scene. That's
cool. I was super shocked when I saw him laying in there with his leg up. That's pretty much all I could say about that, I guess.
So that was his great uncle, right?
No, I think it's his uncle, but like his dad must be significantly younger than, because his dad called him his brother. He looked up to his brother.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a 40-year age difference.
Dude, he could just be sick.
He looked rode hard and put away wet, man.
He looked okay, like the beginning, and then by the end, it was hard to watch.
I do love, though, how he's always given Mark shit, like someone said earlier. Like, he's literally, like, he's on set most of the time, and, like, he's usually talking crap. And, like, Brett, like you had in your spoiler, like, we'll play the clip, but, like, the thank you, or Jesus told me so part. It's one of the funniest parts of the whole movie.
It's okay. It's something to live for. Jesus told me so.
It's alright, it's okay, there's something to live for. Jesus told me so.
Yeah, like take 50. Like, I think one of my favorite parts of the whole Bill, actually, Bill was like 50% of the things he said I loved, and 50% of the things he said I was like, ugh. But Mark kept trying to be like, this is great, man, you're the producer, how happy are you? How proud are you? And he just kept trying to like lead him into saying like, oh, man, you're making great movies, man. And then Bill just does not give a crap. He just wants his money back.
Yeah.
Did anybody else know that Bill was dead before you watched the movie?
No, but
I didn't know who Bill was.
Same.
You didn't know who Bill was?
What do you mean before I watched the movie?
Like at the very, very end of the movie, it says that his Uncle Bill died right after COVID came out. Did nobody see that?
No, I saw that he died, but I didn't know he died.
Yeah, I saw that he died, yeah.
He said he died shortly after the movie was released. So, like, he died, like, November of that year. So, when did the movie come out?
It was, like, summer?
Yeah, so he died shortly after that. I had read that he died before that, so I, like, because I kind of knew I was watching him die, which is extra weird. But, all right, so I guess if there's anything else we want to touch with on Mark, we can get into like some funny Mike stuff.
Funny Mike.
Anybody want to start with some of their favorite Mike parts?
Well, can I just finish up on Uncle Bill?
Absolutely.
I feel like we're in an Uncle Bill mode there. I think one of the, if not the most poetic parts of the movie is when, and I can't find this quote online. Like no one's including the quote in their like collection, but he's like being pestered by Mark about like, you still have to live for something even though you're old. What else are you going to do? Blah, blah, blah. Like, what do you really want? And he goes off on this tangent, and it sounds like half of like an old Irish prayer or something, but also half of something like he made up. And he starts talking and babbling at the end kind of about like, I just wanted to make everyone happy and safe or something. And he kind of just like shrinks into a ball after he said it. It was an amazing human moment to watch.
Was it his songs he wrote?
Does anybody know what I'm talking? Did anybody else catch that? This
Possibly.
Part? He says like, part of the quote is, may heaven help you, may God help you, may Jesus help you.
Oh yeah, it's towards the very end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was almost like him saying goodbye almost.
Well, I remember the songs that he wrote too, and one of them's like about a dead lover or something and like visiting her grave and stuff.
Yeah, that made me laugh though.
Yeah,
because I'll visit your grave every day or every once in a while if I can find it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about pointing it out to me. I'll find it.
Oh man, yeah, I thought that was funny. But yeah, I'm with you, Josh. He surprised me every once in a while with some of the things he would say.
I literally can't find that quote anywhere online. We should definitely play that quote just to get that sweet SEO in case anybody else is searching for it.
Hello? Come again? Come again? Stay a while? Stick around a while? Stick around as long as you can? Heaven help you? God help you, Jesus help you, everybody else help you, everybody make happy. make everybody happy, be a comedian.
I have seen, and I know Pappy died laughing during this as well. I have seen the scene where he puts that guy's head through the door 10 times, and I knew it was coming, and I still lost my freaking mind. I was laughing so hard. Because the guy, didn't want to do that scene, and then he had to do... I'm thinking about him now.
Talking about the scene in the kitchen, that he definitely just wanted to be home with his family and not do...
Yeah, he was a sport, though.
I think one of the... this movie really is brilliant, but one of the greater aspects of the movie is that you have no idea what Coven nor what Northwestern are actually about at all.
Right.
Yeah. And so, I think that's a really fun part of this movie. So you kind of jump into the kitchen, and you can definitely tell, Mark goes in through a lot of mood swings throughout this movie where he's really excited about his project. He's not excited. He's really excited. It's very peak and valley, kind of like a manic depressive attitude that Mark has. And so he's with this actor in this kitchen, and they're kind of choreographing how it's going to go. It's going to be kind of like this intense fight scene. And Mark is slowly guiding his head into the lower cabinet of the sink. And when they're shooting, Mark full on throws his head into this cabinet and it doesn't break.
He tries again.
And he tries again, doesn't break. Then it dawns on Mark. He's like, oh man, I didn't score this, man. Oh, I'm sorry, man. Oh man. And then it does this really quick cut of this guy scoring it, and it has this really quick cut to the actor while he's watching it getting scored, and he just looks pissed off and tired. It's a really funny moment.
Who's the guy who's scoring it too? Because he's a pretty major character.
His best friend?
He calls him his best friend at some point.
The bad influence kid? Bad influence guy?
Kenny or something?
Kenny Dune or Dunn or...
One of the most surrealistic parts is when they go to pick him up from jail. He's like, yeah, they got him.
I love that.
It's just so out of the blue.
Ken Keene.
Ken Keene, there you go.
Keene. Yeah, it doesn't even sound like a real name. Just an extra E in the last name.
And Mrs. Mama Borchardt does not like Ken Keene. You find that out at the very end of the movie. That they're just bad influences on each other. And then she says they're bad influence on each other, and then he's going to pick Ken up from jail. So it's oh, I guess she's probably right.
The story that Mark told about him getting busted was so ridiculous, because he's like, they got him, and the director's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, his lights went out, and he went down to go check the fuse box, and next thing you know, they got him.
But they never say for what either.
Yeah,
that's the Stevie question. That's the Stevie question. What do you think it was?
Oh, most certainly drugs.
Drugs, yeah.
Most certainly drugs.
But what's the whole story about, the cops turned off the circuit breaker?
Yeah! He's like, he goes down to check there, and next thing you know, they got him.
Oh, man.
And I love, Mark's attitude, too, because it's so nonchalant. This isn't the first time I've gone to pick up Ken in a winter because the cops surrounded his house by turning off the fuse box. He's like, yeah, they got Ken. Going to pick him up from jail. He'll be out in about, 4 minutes. Oh, there he is.
And it's just interesting, too, to see Mike and Ken, his two most loyal friends. Because you kind of wonder, what's the kind of person who would align themselves to Mark? Who's hitching their wagon to Mark's star? And then you meet Mike and Ken, you're like, yeah, I can see it. That makes sense.
I just can't believe how much time everybody put in that movie, and they couldn't have gotten paid any money. But then again, it's what else are they going to do? They're a small town, probably a poor suburb of Milwaukee. I don't know. What else are they going to do?
Well, you kind of brought it up earlier, Brett. Mark has kind of a silver tongue where it's
yeah.
I'm sure this thing started out with a lot of great hope and promise, and he got a lot of people excited about this project. And it probably just came in and out of their lives, and they're like, yeah, screw it. I've already done this much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mike just was happy just to be around people. When he's splicing, doing that stuff at the end, everyone else is probably super frustrated, and he's just like, "Oh, I got to change this number from 79 to 80." I mean, he's like, he's having the time of his life. He's with people,
but at the same
not
time,
doing drugs.
It's clear he's not getting that exactly right.
I have no idea what he's doing.
The numbers? It's 7994. No, that's 899. No, like
he's messing up Mark's movie, like on the side. He can't hang up the flyers right at one point.
Yeah, dude, they put the flyers on something and it gets taken away, and like, well, that's what happened to the flyers.
And then Mark gives a whole speech at the end about, we only have a few of these left, so I need you to take him to important spots. And he like takes off. And he's like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "You got to get the flyers." He's like, "Oh yeah, man." Or he's like, "I'm going to get." I don't remember what he said. My gosh, he's just made me laugh so many times. I guess we can get to that later. A part early in the film that I thought was pretty funny was Mark when they still trying to do the Northwestern thing, and all the actors are doing their scenes, and he's like, "Man, they're making a mockery of my words, man." He's like, this whole thing is turning out to be a theatrical mockery. You understand that, Mike? No.
What about when he shows them how to act, and he's just Leo screaming at them?
He's so terrible. He's like, oh my gosh, yeah.
He's Leonardo DiCaprioing, right, guys?
Oh, he's the best.
Oh, most certainly.
They're making a mockery out of my words, man. This whole thing is turning into a theatrical mockery. Do you understand that, Mike?
No.
Well, you will. I'm going to go in there flying, man, and read this fucker like it's supposed to be read, because I've had it. You stupid fucking bitch! This is 186 fucking minute phone call at goddamn prime time.
I paid the fucking bill!
And, like, I didn't realize it until, like, another 15 minutes after it happened. But, like, this movie starts off moving really fast, where it's, like, production teams and actors. And one of the guys makes a comment where he goes, "How's the funding going, Mark?" He goes, "Is that all settled?" And Mark goes, "Yeah, all taken care of. It's fine." That's like the crux of this whole movie is to get funding for the movie he said he already had it for.
Yeah.
Tell me, I think the happiest Mark is the entire movie is when he gets that approved for a credit card.
Yeah.
For someone like him, I think it's funny that he gets a letter from the IRS. He's like, "Oh, it's only $81." And like 3 minutes later, it's been like a year. He's like, "I owe $12,000 to the IRS." I was like, what happened in between that
year? Probably didn't
pay
that
1,000 on a MasterCard, man.
Oh, he owes his dad $10,000. He's like, his dad was a weird character because early on he's super supportive. He's like, "Oh, he'll make the money back." And then like 5 minutes later, they're like, "Yeah, Dad wasn't really around very much. He's not around very much now." It really kind of threw me off because he seemed super supportive and he seemed like they were really close. But then like both the brothers and Mark are like, "Yeah, he doesn't come around very much." Mm-hmm. So I don't know if he didn't live around there or...
Unless it's the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Super Bowl. Plus,
supportive in front of the camera, but in actual life.
That's kind of what I thought of. Or I thought he was maybe trying to make up for being a crappy dad. Also, he's giving him $10,000, so I don't blame him for not being very supportive at the end, but I don't know.
Anyone else think that, like, I mean, Mark is, like, definitely a human being. He's not like he's playing a character or anything, but, like, I felt myself getting, like, mad at Mark at the Super Bowl. Anybody else? Like, when he was watching the Super Bowl with, like, Mike and his mom?
Yeah, towards the end, he's a huge dick. I mean, he's being mean to everybody.
He goes so low on his mom.
How so, Josh?
He basically says, like, "I'll never be like you," just hovering around the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
brutal.
Again, though, like, when he's drunk, he's like, he was a dick. I mean, I thought he was pretty happy-go-lucky and
also,
somewhat...
like,
yeah.
I was mad at him for Mike's sake, too, for the fact that it's like, Mike can't drink. Like, Mike needs to stay sober for the rest of his life to even function.
Yep.
And here's Mark, like, getting wasted, like, trying to drag him to a bar, like, being an ass in front of him. You can definitely tell that Mike was super uncomfortable at that situation.
Well, you can tell that, like, Mark has this need to, like the Leahy celebratory drinks, of course. You know what I mean? Like, during Thanksgiving, his mom is in the same town, drops off a turkey, but then goes to have a Thanksgiving with his two other brothers while he gets drunk with his uncle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, that says a lot about the dynamic. I feel like he's just always taken it too far, and he's never with his brothers at any point in the movie either.
He did have that line where there's like, he's like, my mom and my brother are having dinner together, probably having a sterile meal, having a sterile conversation.
Yeah, and he's really making his mom and dad mad at the Super Bowl because he keeps cussing, and it's so obvious that they don't like it, and they tell him to stop it, and then he cusses way worse than he did before. So, but to be fair, I mean, the Packers won the Super Bowl, so he was pretty pumped.
Kind of along those lines, and this didn't strike me at all during the watch, but on thinking about it later, do you think he was playing a character of himself after a while, with this doc crew around, or do you think this is
I think it's him, man.
legit?
I think it's him.
Well, it's always kind of the thought about documentaries, isn't it, Josh?
True, it's true.
About people kind of upstaging themselves when they're on camera.
Yeah, and I think what's beautiful about this movie is that it feels like that's not happening. The doc crew is there for so many years, and this is so low budget and crappy. Honestly, the production of the doc is probably not too different from the production of freaking Northwestern or Coven. It could have easily gone to the wayside or been a passion project that never worked out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do like how they kind of splice the movie together too, because you can definitely tell that because it was shot throughout so many years, they were careful where they put Mark's words over himself, where he's like, man, I'm never going to work those crummy jobs of cleaning or being in office 40 hours a week. And he's talking over himself, shoveling snow and being a groundskeeper at a cemetery and vacuuming,
delivering newspapers. I like how they kind of made his words fall back on himself.
Yeah.
It's kind of because he hasn't pursued anything else besides the filmmaking. He has to basically take the lowest cast job there is. But he does it, and it seems like the guy likes him and wants him to stick around.
Well, do you remember when he tells that elaborate story of how one day he got called down to the funeral home? Yeah, and he just proceeds to describe how someone had shit all over. I
love that story.
All over the bathroom. He's like, there I am, man, 30 years old, thinking, I gotta clean up this shit right now. I'm about to make the next great American movie or something.
I believe it was yesterday. I was called to the bathroom at the cemetery to take care of something. I walked in the bathroom, and in the middle toilet right there, somebody didn't shit in the toilet, somebody shat on the toilet. They shat on the walls. They shat on the floor. I had to clean it up, man. But before that, for about 10 to 15 seconds, man, I just stared at somebody's shit, man. To be totally honest with you, man, it was a really, really profound moment. So I was thinking, I'm 30 years old, and in about 10 seconds, I got to start cleaning up somebody's shit, man.
Okay, Brett, I want to actually kind of bring this up as a discussion, get your thoughts on it as a proud patriot. The theme of the American dream comes up a lot. I guess, what did you think about that as an aspect of the film? Trying to make it.
I mean, what? You talking about the words he uses, or the semantics when he's talking about it, or just
the movie's called American Movie. You know what I mean? It's Tommy Wiseau, real American movie. I don't know. What do you think about it?
He didn't name it that.
No. But the documentary, I think it's based on his he's always talking about the American dream, and
I think he even brought up how his grandpa came to the United States with very little money and made something of himself, kind of stuff like that.
At one point, he goes to a neighborhood just full of big houses just to visualize it.
Yeah, and then but he still makes fun of the house. He's like, I want to be living here. Well, not in that house. That's way too. What do you say? It's way too corny or something like that.
Yeah.
I'd be way
flatter. Yeah.
First of all, I don't know if I'd call myself a true patriot. I'm not that right. But, I don't know. I mean, the poor person growing up wanting to, I think there's a lot of poor people that want the American dream, just a big house, great family, money. Even Mike, who's stupid, he wanted money. He wanted to be a famous producer because he wanted, what do you say, money, girls, and power?
Money, sex, power.
Money, sex, power, yeah. So even he realizes that that's what people strive for, even if he never really thought about it. It's just ingrained, and maybe it's the North. I don't know. We're like, I think it's somewhat also, Northern, but
too, I think also the movie business sells that more than anything about kind of the American dream of like, they sell stardom more than any other industry. And also, they don't sell just stardom, but like happenstance stardom, where this person was discovered here.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, this person was living on a couch and made it, and now they're super famous. Like,
Justin Bieber singing on YouTube, and all of a sudden he's worth $300 million, you know?
I wouldn't say Mark is a product of that, but I think he himself bought into that at a very young age.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it really had a profound effect on his life.
Well, there's got to be a huge part of the population that's like him in their own ways. And for every million of them, there's like one, Spielberg. There's one Rian Johnson. And I guess that's why, like, we try at Spoilers to hold these people up to a high standard when they make movies, because there's a lot of people out there trying to make movies.
Man, Josh, you were going to love Rian Johnson's new movie. I can't believe you're hating him so much.
Knives Out.
Hey,
Brick 2?
That was Knives an olive branch I just reached out to Rian Johnson with, so I think we're doing pretty well.
You're going to love his next movie, so we'll talk about that some other time.
But just to continue on that note, like, I just listened to WTF Pod with Stephen Colbert, and like when he was 29 or 30, he was like having panic attacks in the back room when he was like scrounging around at Second City in Chicago, like barely making it. And like what happens to Colbert or this Mark guy if they don't make it? And I think that's what's like so scary and sad about this movie. And I think Mark kind of did make it because this movie...
He made it.
Yeah, right? He's been in like 40 roles or something like that.
Yeah, he's got a decent IMDb page. I mean, they did he played himself on Family Guy. That's kind of...
Really?
That's kind of... Yeah. They like show scenes from the movie. Like, that's kind of... To me, that's like making it.
That was awful. That was just awful. What do you think, Mark?
I don't know, man. We didn't get the shots we need. Man, what do you think, Mike? I mean, if you saw action going on in front of you, would you know instinctively to center it in front of you?
I don't know. Could someone take my soda out of the icebox, please, so it doesn't freeze?
But it's like the Tommy Wiseau thing, too, right? Where he thought he was making a great movie, but the reason he was propelled into this like pseudo stardom is because like people were laughing at him. I think at some level that has to like hurt, you know what I mean? Because the way the film's edited, the way the story's laid out, I don't think it's exaggerated in any way, but it's definitely, you're laughing at the characters.
Do you think the film is mean-spirited at all, Pappy?
Yes, but it doesn't bother me either. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, there's a lot of ways to tell the story. There's some like choices in editing I think that are, and I'm trying to think of one offhand, but like there are some choices in editing that I think make the characters look a little silly, or show them how they truly are, which is, not always in the best light, which it's just the fact that this movie exists, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what's a big example of that, just thematically, is that when he has his premiere and like he's kind of popular, someone asks for his autograph, like that completely blindsides you because there's no hint that people actually like him or like taking him seriously.
I got kind of pumped, Josh, when you see that line outside of the theater.
No, it's great, but I think just part of like the movie being mean-spirited, like they could have sprinkled in his talent or something in it a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they definitely like make it seem like here's this loser with, delusions of grandeur about making this great movie, and they could have just... I mean, I feel like they really piled on Mark, and I'm kind of with you, Josh. They could have shown, like, other people, like, at least mention him in a flattering light, or him doing something in a flattering light.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you guys, it seemed like he knew what he was doing. Did he not?
I don't know about the technical aspects of film. You have to ask Josh. Josh, did he seem like he knew what he was doing?
I think clearly, like, we see some bits of his end product of Coven at the end. And, like, clearly there's, like, some clunkiness to it. But, like, yeah, he knows how to work cameras.
For a high school dropout,
he's trying to direct people. His acting, as shown on screen, is, like, half horrible, half, like, okay, I see where he's going with this.
Yeah.
And further, like, seeing him doing that linear editing, like, he had to have learned that, and that's not an easy, simple machine.
Yeah, I think it's just more of like from a people management perspective, and kind of like we touched on, like maybe some bipolar, or at least the alcoholism is like what really bothers him. Because like you see at the beginning, he has like a decent crew with him, and there's that one guy who's got like all of the scenes like color coded and laid out in a binder, and he just like fucking disappears, and like everyone kind of disappears until it's just him in a car being all depressed finishing his movie by himself. Like,
ooh, there's that radio interview, right?
Oh, yeah. Right, yeah.
What was that? Was it radio or newspaper or what?
I think it was radio.
What are some of the influences that help shape the Mark Borchardt format or the Mark Borchardt style?
When I was growing up and drinking, the people that I was around with, they were the Americans who were still fighting the West with a bottle of vodka in their hand, man. There was still territory out there, in the mind or around the block or something like that.
Expand on that a little. I mean, this sort of
Okay, listen, man. There was no such thing about college or religion or anything. There was drinking, and everything would revolve around that. The money, the time spent, everything, and it was America at that point.
One of my favorite characters, though, we haven't talked about the actor who corrects him.
Waiting.
Yeah, Coven. God, that guy is fucking hilarious.
Dude, when he's standing there with the scarf on, the guy's like, "Oh, dude, what are you wearing?" He's like, "I will lose the scarf."
He looks at him. I forget what his name. He just looks at him.
Tom
He's like,
Schimmel, I think.
Tom, what are you doing?
He kind of talks like Orson Welles, and like it's just.
He looks like him too a little bit.
He reminded me of the chef from Los Enchiladas.
Oh no,
God, that's a great reference. But the beautiful thing is that guy is just living in Wisconsin for real, just doing any acting he can get his hands on. That's more beautiful, I think, than anything Mark's doing. I want a documentary about that guy.
Oh my gosh! Anytime the movie is getting like too intense, it seems like they just cut to him like screaming. Which that's one of the things that I wanted to mention. I think one of the most cathartic, and I use that word because I use it here too, but one of the most cathartic scenes is where Mike freaking kills it on the ADR with his scream.
Dude, I was laughing so hard. Dude, that's the best scream ever. And like all the other screams were pretty good too, and then he gets in there and just kills everybody. Oh my gosh. Whew, man, that's so funny. That's probably the hardest I laughed. That and the door thing.
Which that?
Door thing?
Well, we slamming him through the cabinet.
Oh, yeah.
I also love that scene where, I can't remember if it was for cover for Northwestern, but they're at the junkyard, which seems like a lot to shoot for this movie. And Mike is on top of this car with a bat, and Mark explicitly tells him, "I don't have a lot of film left, man. You got to make it good. One swing only." And they go through like 15 to 20 takes. And it's like Josh, like you said, when Mark goes, "Is that cathartic for you, Mike?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
You know what cathartic means, Mike? No.
He's like, "I'm swinging it as hard as I can, and I feel like I'm not even hitting it hard." Yeah, like.
Oh, man. What a great cast of characters.
Like, just to touch on something we were talking about earlier, and then we should just do some Mike stuff and then probably wrap it up. Like, when I look at some of the reviews on IMDb, like the bottom one that they show, it's a positive review, but it says it's never entirely clear whether Borchardt is also an object of ridicule for documentarian Chris Smith. But, like, if you look at some of the reviews, like the 5-star reviews on Letterboxd, I feel like it's almost more, I'm guessing you guys will disagree, but this first one says, like, this movie is often cited as an example of a documentary that exploits its subject, but if you watch this and can only laugh at Mark Borchardt, that's on you. I'd hate to live in a world where his story isn't told. And another one says, I guess some people think this is exploitative, but it and the people in it are so inspiring to me. I love Mark Borchardt's obsession with film, how he talks excitedly about shooting on 16mm black and white, blah, blah, blah. All this
is
stuff.
How he ropes people in. This is how cults are created.
Yeah. or Covens.
I'm sorry, Josh. That's hilarious.
But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I just pictured Mark as a cult leader, and I couldn't stop laughing. Helter Skelter, man, it's here.
Yeah.
Brett, to your point, I mean, it is mean-spirited, but like, it's not like he didn't agree to do it. You know what I mean? And his whole career is to put himself in the public light. I think it's just kind of hard to watch because you know, like, what happens. You know what I mean? You know that American movie is way more popular than Coven ever will be.
Yeah, that actually made me feel bad, like, even before I watched it, but then I found out that he actually had a decent run. And he's still doing stuff. If you look at IMDb, he's got 7 upcoming projects.
You guys should watch his YouTube video of him and Mike doing a 1.5-hour commentary on the original Night of the Living Dead.
That sounds awesome.
It's awesome. It's those two sitting on a couch, and Mike is still Mike, and Mark is still Mark.
I'm definitely gonna have to watch that.
Unbelievable.
All right, so let's get into some Mike stuff. Go ahead, Josh.
I was just gonna say, like, Chris Smith gave 4 years of his own life.
That's true.
On this film, like, I think he owes it to himself and everyone to just make the best movie possible, and I think that's pretty much what he did.
It is exploitive, though. I mean, he could have cut it in a way where it looked like Mark was like a starving artist. That,
you think we'd know about the movie then? Like,
no. But,
I don't know.
There's some part of him that has to
they really
know.
hammered Mark into the ground, man.
Yeah, there's some part of him that has to know that any success that he has since is partly because he was ridiculed. You know what I mean? Like, or humiliated. Like that even if he can like put everything in a positive light, well, none of this would have happened. That's still got to hurt on some level, I would imagine.
Yeah.
He's so philosophical, though. I feel like he'd be able to get past it, like Beach Bum.
Maybe, yeah.
Just chasing the moon, bro.
Let's talk about Mike for a little bit, and then, I mean, we've been talking about it a little bit, but we haven't really dived into it. Like, this, anybody want to, like, say some of their favorite parts about him? I love when he's talking about, he's like, I love playing lottery, man, because even if you can win or you can lose, but with drugs and alcohol, especially drugs, you always lose, man.
But then he looks right at the camera and gives a big smile. Like, you know what I'm saying?
There were 2 like really heartwarming moments. I mean, one was actually kind of sad for me. One of the more parts I laughed hard and just felt really kind of sorry for Mike is when he's like, I just used to be in my basement drinking, doing drugs by myself. And then Mark came along and I had another person to drink with. Yeah. So I wasn't alone.
That's kind of why
It was kind of sad. Then the other part was that we mentioned earlier, I think he won 200 at the lottery. Yeah. And he's like, I gave like 100 to my mom and then I put like, 75 of it away and I have like $25 left and I just think they're going to use it if I give it to them. So I kind of don't really want to tell them. Like,
so that was the one where he said, I have $25 in my wallet. So what do we want to spend it on? And that's when Mark goes, let's go buy some beers.
5 pitchers of beer.
And Mike's like, I can't drink.
Yeah.
But the other one was like, I want $50. I don't want. It was. I actually. That's one of the hardest parts was during the Super Bowl when Mark like busts out and leaves, and then they show like Mike just sitting there, who was like just happy a few seconds ago, and he's just sitting there. He's sitting there with his friend's mom, and I feel like it's probably pretty hard to make Mike mad. I don't even know if he. I mean, does he get mad at all? Except for when Mark's like, you just ripped that song from Iron Maiden.
The way that they are like sitting in that room at that point is like awkward. Perfect for storytelling because like Mike is closer to the camera. So every time he's on screen, he's just like uncomfortably close and you can't like ignore the fact he's sitting there. And like the mom and the son are like having this argument and like this cold air is just blowing into the house.
Yeah, she's like, door. Yeah.
But yeah, that's when he goes low on his mom, and it's almost like it's pretty sad.
Who was he swearing at when he was screaming?
The world.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not going to work 40 hours a week.
Brett Favre.
I think just the world.
Yeah. No, Brett Favre.
No.
He's specifically yelling at him.
He's happy with him.
Well, to your point, Brett, too, like, you're like, well, to his credit, it was the Packers winning the Super Bowl, and he's like, celebrating, but it's like read the room. No one else is drinking at all. Like his dad's in the next room because he doesn't want to be in there with his drunkard son. Like
that's alcoholism.
There's a 12-pack of PBRs in the freezer.
Yeah, which are gone. And he wants to go to some bar.
Wants to go to Paul Mitchell's.
I think my favorite part of Mike is when I alluded to it earlier, when he's talking about the story where he took air quotes acid. And he has this really crazy trip, And he ends up in the hospital. He doesn't know where he is. And he's like, his first thought is, I got to try to get that acid out of my pocket so I can trip in the hospital. But he's like, it turns out it was just PCP with a little bit of, what did he say he put in it?
He called it a downer. He goes, it's a PCP.
A little bit of downer.
A little bit of downer. Well, comes to that downer actually saved my life and sold my mom. I might not wake up, but that downer did the trick.
Then he goes, I have a lot of other cool stories like that if you want me to tell you about them.
That's so scary. Oh my gosh.
My mom came in and had that bag of acid and she just flushed it down the toilet, so I guess I can't trip in the hospital. Man,
when he had that quote about like immediately going to his pocket so he could trip more, it totally just sprung in my mind the Doc Ellis no on acid whole like animation. Have you guys seen that?
Yes.
Doc Ellis threw a no-hitter while tripping, and he has this amazing animated story about it.
That's pretty awesome. Anybody else have anything?
I got a Mike thing. I got a Mike thought. So they used Mike's guitar playing for the soundtrack of this movie quite a bit, which is pretty cool. But I think like his story is almost like a microcosm of like Mark's story. Like he's clearly always played the guitar, probably with hopes of like being discovered as a rock star. He has like that haircut, does a lot of drugs like a rock and roller, but they're both like American dream, dark side, sort of. Think about it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I almost feel like Mike had probably given up on that, and then when this whole thing came back again, he thought maybe it was like a second chance.
But he still plays
practicing all the time.
Yeah, and he plays guitar like for the camera and kind of like cams it up and stuff. It's pretty great.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Anybody else have anything?
I just think, I mean, I don't know all of like Mike's or Mark's past, but like watching Mike be his happy self made me mad at Mark sometimes, because it's like, you know, this dude has struggled with alcohol and drugs throughout most of his life, and you're doing these things in front of him. You know what I mean? It just kind of made me like just a little more angry at Mark, I would say.
Yeah, but again, I don't think he's in control of himself either. So
yeah,
I don't think he had much of a choice.
Mike seemed pretty chill with it.
Yeah, because he's really into not doing anything. He's not doing drugs.
Okay, was he not actually still like smoking weed at least? Kind of like the way he was winky was like
possibly.
I don't know.
You think he was a little glassy-eyed?
I swore I saw him just like breathing out smoke randomly one time. But
I did like the scene where his mom's shooting, and he's really self-conscious about like wasting tape, and he actually does a scene and he's like, "Are we? What does he say? Are we in square? What does he say?
In frame."
In frame, and she's like. And he's obvious that she has no idea what he's talking about, and he just gets like, "Oh, I guess we're still wasting frame." I don't know. I mean, again, he's kind of being a dick, but he's trying to get it done, you know. So I don't know. His mom was pretty funny. Like, God, I haven't even thought about Bill in like 45 minutes, but I guess that's probably a good thing. But it all worked out in the end for just about everybody. I guess Bill left him $50,000 to finish a movie that he never finished.
I love that part. Just reading those words on screen that he like believed in him and left him $50K is pretty cool.
I was trying to think, in Brigsby Bear, there's a scene where Kyle Mooney goes too far, right? And pisses everybody off with like the fire, one of the stunts.
Yeah, when he lights off the bomb.
Yeah, and there's definitely like a bunch of that in the Disaster Artist too. And then like Ed Wood has a scene like that where I think he isolates people. It's just funny that like all of those like fictional movies about making movies have that beat of the story, and then this documentary like absolutely has that. Like it's like a real thing that like when you make movies with your friends, the creative force is going to get frustrated with everybody else and just take it too far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Brett.
Yeah.
Before we kick it to yes or no's, I while we were talking, I actually wrote down myself everything that Uncle Bill says right before they say that he died, like his goodbye scene.
Nice.
you mind if I read that?
No, I don't mind at all.
Okay. Stay. Stay a while. Stick around a while. Stick around as long as you can. Heaven help you. God help you. Jesus help you. Everyone else help you. Everybody. Everybody make happy. Make everybody happy. Be a comedian.
Wow.
That's sweet. It's like a commencement speech.
It's better than anything Moondog ever said.
Easy now. Josh, can you read that in Uncle Bill's voice?
We can totally just edit me out and just have that clip there.
Jesus told me so. I love the part where it's like 30 takes. Bill is freezing his ass off in this car, trying to read this nonsensical gibberish, like for this line. And eventually, Bill looks at Mark and goes, "I'm done. I'm done." And Mark's like, "No, just one more." He's like, "No, I'm done. I'm going inside."
Yeah.
That's got to be the funniest scene.
It's the first line of the film, man. It's got to be on the money here. Roll down the window, Bill.
It's all right.
Okay, cut. All right, man. Shit. You gotta give it some passion too, man. And you gotta. It's all right. It's okay. There's something to live for. Jesus told me so.
It's all right. There's something to live for. Jesus told me so.
Okay, great, Bill. But we have to have fluidity in there.
All right. So that was American Movie. So I guess we'll go with I guess we'll just go ahead and kick it to Pat real quick.
Oh, okay.
For yes or no.
This is a yes. It is mean-spirited, and another Brett movie, it's not gonna get a no. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't think so. Josh's gonna give it a no.
We'll see. But it's mean-spirited in the sense that it exists. You know what I mean? Like, you can make a movie about literally anything your imagination can come up with, and to choose to make a documentary about some lower middle class people in Wisconsin, and it is inherently a mean-spirited choice, but the product that comes out of that is fucking hilarious. I laughed so hard I cried at some points. I think the film wants you to feel the way it made me feel, and so in that sense, it's a complete success. So it's a hard yes. It's hard to find stuff about this, actually.
Yeah.
Because the title, especially American Movie, like a bunch of stuff comes up, obviously. But if you haven't seen this and for some reason you're still listening to this podcast, definitely check it out. I watched it on Vudu for like $2 or something. So yes for me.
Oh, it's on Vudu?
Yeah.
Cool. Stevie?
I will give this a hard yes. It's definitely mean-spirited sometimes, especially towards its subjects, but overall it's a pretty inspiring story, especially at the end. Like, I felt myself like nervous for Mark when he's walking into his own premiere, just praying that this line around the block is going to like his movie that I'm sure if we watch it today... I mean, Brett, have you watched Coven?
I couldn't find I only found like a negative version of it on YouTube. Plus, I'd love to pay him for it, you know?
Yeah, I would, like $14.95, man.
Well, Stevie,
I'll pay it.
Not just that they like it, but that it'll even play.
Yeah, just little things like that, and like the race to the finish at the end. Like I felt myself like rooting and like championing like for this lovable bunch of losers that was Mike and Mark and Ken and his mom. Like everyone involved, I just felt myself rooting for him. So definite hard yes. It's funny, it's bittersweet, it's sad. Great movie, American Movie. 2 hard thumbs up.
Sweet. Josh.
Hey, so I watched half of this movie last night, the rest of it today, and like, I was really down and out after seeing the first half, and like I told you guys, I hate this movie so far, and you guys alluded to that it didn't get any better, but I will say, the second half of the movie, they don't really interview his brothers anymore, They have the premiere of the film, which like is great. They have all the Scream stuff and all those audio takes that are hilarious. And they also have like the acid trip story. Like, I think it does end on a great note. And I think, like, against what Pappy's saying, like, yeah, they show people's flaws, but you are rooting for these people in the end. And I don't think you would as much if it wasn't so truthful. So yeah, it went from like a no to a super hard yes, and like
cool.
That's a good reason to like always finish a movie and not just give up.
Yep, never give up.
And just further, Pappy, against your point, like this director wasn't huge either. His first movie he made was American Job, which by all accounts is probably a similar, just sad Midwestern story. So like he's like trying to find his own niche, and like this is a really interesting story, don't you think? It's like worthy of telling.
I mean,
I do.
You say like mean spirited, and you're saying that I think it's bad. I don't think it's bad, but it is mean. You know what I mean? Like a roast is like mean spirited, but it doesn't mean it's bad. Like I don't associate that with being something that's like yucky or gross. But I do think that if you can make a movie about anything, to make a movie that is outwardly comedic about like an alcoholic who's not a good dad, and to try to derive comedy out of that is inherently a little bit mean spirited.
I think someone said it earlier. Well, like I was thinking, well, yes, you know, it's not his fault. He just recorded what was going on. But I think one of you two, either Stevie or Pappy, said something like they edited it that way on purpose. Like they could have edited it a different way. So I do see it. Like, you know, he's just telling a story. He's just videotaping them. But like you're right, the editing might have been a little mean spirited. How they ordered things and probably things they cut and didn't cut. So I mean, I get it. But I think it needed to be told. So
well, yeah, just to clarify my point too, I also don't think it was like I wouldn't change anything necessarily in the editing. Like I really think that like Uncle Bill like shit himself or pissed himself or something at Thanksgiving. That's why they gave him the bath. Like, and he doesn't show that. Yeah. And I think that would be if he did show something like that, that would have been like over the line. I think that he is fairly respectful in a lot of senses too.
And that's pretty keen of you to pick up on that. I wonder if we had him on the line right now calling into spoilers, if he would admit there's probably a lot of things like that on the cutting room floor.
Mm-hmm. I would imagine so.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'll finish up. This is definitely a hard yes for me, too. My wife fell asleep about 3/4 through and said it was super boring, so I don't know. But
does she even like movies? Like, what's her deal?
Does she like movies? If you don't like Vision Quest, can you say you like movies?
She liked Beach Bum.
Okay, that's cool. All
I like how the spirit of Brittany is like on this pod.
Yeah, she doesn't really listen anymore anyway. So, so this is definitely a hard yes. I'm with Pap. Like I said, I was like 2/3 of the movie, and I saw Pap's review, and I told him I don't think it could have been more perfect. Like sometimes I was laughing so hard I couldn't stand it, and then the other half, it gives you kind of some pity for him, and it just, I thought it was really good. I think I agree with the Letterboxd review. I think it's a story that needed to be told. Jimmy Fallon never called it a comedy. He just said it's the top 5 funniest movies he ever seen. So, and he couldn't even stop laughing. He couldn't even tell a story about the guy's head going through the cupboard because he was laughing so hard. Him and Horatio Sands he didn't say it, but I'm guessing they were probably stoned at like a midnight showing and they just died. They were just going crazy. So, it's definitely a hard yes. I'm really glad that you guys at least enjoyed it. I love that Jimmy
Fallon can sit atop his like broadcast career and just laugh at this like failure. What a dick.
That dude would laugh at Schindler's List, though. I mean, Jimmy Fallon would laugh at anything.
First of all, I think it was like 99 or 2000. He wasn't exactly super famous at that point. But he's pretty famous. All right, so I don't know if we're like keep going or not, but I put the paper up there. I put the file up there for you guys to look at.
All right, is it in Drive?
Yeah, why don't you guys load that up while I go pee? And once you print that out on your printers, and if you don't have it, I'll fax it to you.
Please.
All right. So we'll meet back up here in like 30 seconds. A minute. All right. All right, you guys here?
Yep.
All right, so does everyone have the file?
CC.
Okay, so this could go quickly. First of all, the order is going to be Mikey, Stevie, Pappy, Josh. That's what Pappy told me. So now Stevie, I believe, has the advantage.
Really?
If you're going right?
I thought Josh hosted last.
Should be Josh, me, Stevie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait.
Stevie has the advantage.
Oh, Josh has the. Oh, so he's the longest.
Josh is the most recent. Then...
Oh, so Stevie has the advantage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a list of, I don't know, 30 documentaries. There were actually 3 more. They were a little unsavory, so I took them off because it just was going to be a joke that we didn't want to tell. It's a typical spoilers thing, so I took those off. Okay, so it's going to be, I think we're just going to do it 1 miss and you're out. So I think, Stevie, you have the biggest advantage by going first. You are going to pick something on the right column that is a synopsis of one of these documentaries. And you are going to match it up with one on the left. Now, half of these are super easy, probably, so I implore you to knock all the easiest ones out of the way. Because if you miss one, you're out.
Okay, so do I have to go until I miss, or I go
one,
someone else
one
goes?
at a time. That's why you want to get the easy ones out.
Is there a shot clock?
We'll talk shot clock when it gets a little harder, okay?
Okay.
All right. Okay, I'll go with the MPAA's rating system, and this film is not yet rated.
I gotta get my answer sheet out. I'm pretty sure that's correct, though, but this film is not yet rated. Yes, that is correct. So 1 point for Stevie. So that's Pappy. Who's up? Pappy's up.
Hearts of Darkness, a filmmaker's apocalypse with the making of Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, I knew you were going to get that one anyway, and then you mentioned it, but I was like, it's not a big deal because I knew you were going to get it. All right. So, Josh, again, knock the easy ones out because it's going to get real hard eventually.
I'll do Bob Dylan's 1965 tour of England. Hoop Stream.
What?
What are you doing?
You're joking, right?
Did Josh die?
Stay a while.
What's going on? Are you having a stroke? Are you on PCP?
What's happening?
I don't know what's happening.
All right, I'll go for real.
Yeah, thank you. Jeez.
The effect of eating McDonald's supersize me.
Okay, there we go. Jeez, he's having fun already, guys. Stevie, you're up.
I will go with Philippe Petit's high wire routine performed between the World Trade Center's Twin Towers. Never forget. Man on Wire.
Yep, nice.
I'll go with 2 African-American high school students who dream of becoming professional basketball players with hoop dreams.
Nice. Josh?
Hold on a second.
You have some time, just don't take a minute.
I think you have a couple on here twice. It's kind of confusing.
Wait, do I really?
Yeah, like a lion tamer, a topiary gardener. It's on there twice.
Oh, crap, it is.
The legacy of one of the porn stars or whatever. Infamous porn stars. Man, this is really tough. This film is not yet. No, that's not that. Gosh dang it. Inside Deep Throat would be a good name for that.
Is that your guess?
No, I know that's not it. Gosh dang it.
Man, I'm really
I
mad
know
that
so
I
many of
screwed
these.
this
Like,
up.
it just takes a while to match them up, Brad. This list is long as hell.
No, I'm not giving you crap. I'm mad at myself for doubling up.
I don't think one of the taglines is on here.
That's probably true if I doubled up.
Because
If you find it, you win automatically.
It's bothering me because I can't find it.
Yeah, the Aristocrats. I can't find what I feel like that should be. I'll just say the Aristocrats, the French Resistance and Collaboration. I'll guess that.
No, that's incorrect. The Aristocrats is on there, by the way. All right.
Oh, Josh I see it now, but yeah.
All right, Josh. All right, Stevie. Then there were two.
Mm-hmm.
It's really bothering me.
Well, we'll figure it out afterwards.
But I need this one, Brett. So it's really bothering me.
Oh, you need it?
Okay. Go fuck yourself. I'm not letting it happen, Pap. Let's see here.
Yeah, I see a lot of gettable ones here, guys.
I understand that. You think you have the Lion Tamer on here twice, Brett?
That's what Josh said.
Okay.
Just guess,
Hold
Stevie.
on.
No, just guess.
No. I'm not going to do no guessing here. None. It's a long list. Give me a second. Let's see here. For the Holocaust. I can't find it! No, it's not it.
What's he looking for? Which one?
There it is.
Okay.
Randall Adams, who served time in prison for a murder he didn't commit. The Thin Blue Line.
There we go. We finally found it.
God.
Okay. The telling of a very, very dirty joke with the Aristocrats.
Yep.
I'm probably going to lose this one anyway, so I'll give us a shot. I'll say the 1974 heavyweight championship bout in Zaire between Foreman and Muhammad Ali. Let's see here. What would this say? Definitely not Crumb. No, not one day. Idea. Not I don't think that's it.
Why don't you pick one that you have a better guess at?
Well, you gotta go through all the options, Brett. I'm gonna say When We Were Kings.
That is correct.
What? Huzzah!
Okay, I'm gonna go Inside Deep Throat, the legacy of one of porn's most infamous movies ever made.
Should have kept going with it, Josh.
Yep.
You were right. That's the name of the movie, Deep Throat. Unless you thought it was about Watergate. Was nobody old enough to remember Watergate? Okay, who's up? Stevie?
Am I up? What ones have they actually done?
That's why I said you should print it out on paper like I did.
Okay, you could have told us today at work, bro.
I didn't want you to study.
Let's see. Late 2000s financial crisis. I'm going to say it's called... I don't think it's called Showa. Let's go with Inside Job.
That's correct. I was actually planning on doing that you'd have to match Pappy, but I guess at this point, I guess whoever misses it, the other person wins, or do you want to match? We'll play match, because I know everyone's loving this game who's listening.
Jesus told me so.
I want to kick off Spooky Spores, but I don't know. All right. Where does that go? I'm going to match up the birth and failure of a new media company with startup.com.
That's correct.
Down to me?
Yep.
Oh, baby. Okay. One of these is going to be right, one of these is going to be wrong. Ah, fuck me in the rear. Okay, let's go with Thierry Guetta. His obsession with street art and his unlikely success as an artist. I think I saw this in college. I think it's called Exit Through the Gift Shop.
Nice.
So I'm trying to mark some of these off.
I guess we can probably edit some of this out.
Okay. I think Shoah is the Holocaust as remembered by survivors, perpetrators, and bystanders.
Yep. Nice.
Fuck.
It's one of the top-rated movies on Letterboxd.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. It's really, really long, I think, too.
It sure is.
Hey, now. Holocaust jokes, Brett.
Oh. Is it me?
By the way, I did not forget one. I just put the other one twice.
Is it me?
Yeah, it's you. But Josh hates me right now.
I don't know.
I love you, Brett.
Sweet. I'm glad.
You know?
We're definitely getting to some of the harder ones. There's a couple that if you read them, there's one that
Jesus,
I'm surprised
Brett,
Pappy
stop.
hasn't gone to. I will do what I want. It's my show.
I'm trying to get screwed out of trivia where people giving clues.
I was trying to give a clue to you, actually.
That's dirty. Let's see.
We're going to have to start doing the shot clock, guys.
Hey, easy now.
We can just edit it out.
Yeah. I really don't want Pappy to have this.
Why?
Because
I know exactly
I'm
what movie he's going to pick.
Because I'm competitive.
And I already have it on my DVR.
You like my pick? It's spooky.
Fuck, I have no clue. So let's just say, is there salesman? Is there? What was that tagline? Ford door-to-door Bible salesman. Let's go with that one.
That's correct.
Yes.
Spellbound, the story of the 1999 National Spelling Bee.
Yeah, I was waiting for somebody to get that one. Yeah, that's correct. Stevie, no time to think. He got you good there.
Got that one ready.
Easy now. My name. If I saw you.
I just don't like Eric Clapton anymore. Can't get past the racism.
What?
He's racist?
Says whom?
And he steals people's songs. He's a piece of crap. I don't know why George Harrison was friends with him.
George was a good man. Let's see here.
I think Eric Clapton stole George Harrison's wife, even or something.
That's what Wonderful Tonight and Layla are about.
Jeez.
He didn't steal them, but they were still friends afterwards.
Yeah, because George Harrison is Moondog level cool.
Pacifist.
They were divorced.
They were on a break.
Hoes before bros, apparently.
All right,
yeah, let's go, guys.
Yeah, this is the only one I can even try to match up. Let's go with The Trial of the West Memphis 3, Paradise Lost, The Child Murders at Robin Hood Hills.
That's correct.
Thank God.
One day in September, the murder of 11 Israeli athletes at the 1972 Summer Olympics in Munich.
Nailed it.
Pappy, why are you the worst?
I want to win.
He's looking ahead, man. He's smart. He's just not giving Stevie any time, so it's going to take 3 minutes in between each one.
Good. Let's see.
16 left.
So yeah, Eric Clapton is a douche.
Please tell why, Josh. I want to listen and look at what I have left.
Let's save this for the thread, man. Let's just get this over with. I'm having a blast, but I don't know if the listeners are having a blast.
Brett, this is your world, man. I'm just living in it.
True. All right.
Did this to us.
Are you missing one, or am I just reading?
I got another one. I got another one ready.
We're missing one. Nice.
So, like, Clapton and Harrison were tight.
I bet I know it is.
When Harrison quit the band, briefly, Clapton was, like, glad to, like, take his place. What an asshole.
What a terrible man. Alright, I think I'm just gonna call it a day. Let's see here. What one have we not done?
There's one.
There's clues in all of these, man.
I spent so much time looking for one.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing, but like, there's so many and the print's so small.
I know, I'm sorry.
You can Command Plus.
Yeah, I could.
You could Command A and then just make the 18.
Correctional institution. Okay, let me just try one. I'm ready to throw a towel. I'm tired. Life inside the Massachusetts Correctional Institution, Bridgewater. Let's try Gates of Heaven.
No.
Alright, good. Thank God.
Happy?
Lost in La Mancha, Terry Gilliam's failed attempt to make his Don Quixote movie.
Yeah, I'm surprised it took you so long to see that one. Yeah, that's right. Hey,
where was Grizzly Man
there's
at?
no Grizzly Man on here for sure. I spent so much time.
Brett, I was looking for that for 10 minutes.
I said, like, let it go. I'm like, okay, it's not on here.
Fun trivia, everyone.
Yes, Grizzly Man is on there. Thank you very much.
I like the trivia.
Where?
Grizzly Man is the violent death of Timothy Treadwell and Amy Huguenard.
Gotcha.
And Stevie, the one Gates of Heaven is a pet cemetery in California.
Gotcha.
I took one out about child molestation, rape, and another one.
Well done, Brett.
Yeah, I think
Josh might have done better.
All right, let's kick it to Spoilers Man, guys.
Spoiler Man here. Our email is podcastspoilers@gmail.com. Twitter is @spoilers_pod. Our Instagram is podcastspoilers. It's lit. Josh Hensley from the Rutabaga wrote our theme song.
And we're back, man. I think we're going to kick it to Pap, and he's going to give us a movie, and we're going to get you guys out of here. Pap?
Well, as you guys know, this was our last episode of September, so the month of spook is upon us, boys. Ooh.
You okay?
Yeah.
He's super pumped.
And this is pretty exciting because we're going to finish out a trilogy, something that we're doing for the first time on Spoilers. We've done one of these movies every year now for the past 3 years. We're going to close it out with Sam Raimi's Army of Darkness.
Yes!
All right, is this movie going to be on a Packers Thursday? Is Brett going to be able to squeeze this one in?
I'd love to see you guys miss a Notre Dame game to do this podcast.
In a heartbeat,
bro. No, you would not.
Oh, would. Most certainly.
All right, well, let's hope that this movie's better than the last Evil Dead. If you guys are still with us after an hour 33, I appreciate it. Love you guys. We're out of here. This is Spoilers.
It's the first line of the film, man. It's got to be on the money here. Roll down the window, Bill.
It's all right.
Okay, cut. All right, man. Shit. You got to give it some passion, too, man. And you got to... It's all right. It's okay. There's something to live for. Jesus told me so.
It's all right. There's something to live for. Jesus told me so.
Okay, great, Bill, but we have to have fluidity in there.
It's all right. It's okay.
Okay, cut. You got to bring passion to it. A message. It's a message.
This is for the shits and for the birds. This is for the birds.
Okay, I believe we can do this. I believe this can be done, Bill. Hey, man, Mike, why don't you keep track of what takes these are, man? Is this fucking take 7? Okay, let's do take 7, man.
It's all right. It's okay.
Cut. Okay. You have to believe in what you're saying, Bill.
You do? Well, I don't. I don't believe nothing what you're doing.
All right. Give it some passion. It's all right. It's okay. There's something to live for. Jesus told me so. You did it before. You could do it again. Okay, this is take 8.
It's all right. It's okay.
Okay, that's fine. You gotta watch your teeth too, because they clack a little bit when they loosen up in the mouth. And take 10.
It's all right. It's okay. It's something to live for. Jesus told me so.
Bill, you couldn't ask for anything better. I think it was recorded too high. Give it all you got. What take is this? This is take 16. Let's go. Take 30.
All right.
Hold up. Take 30.
It's all right. It's okay. This, Jesus told me so. There's something to live for.
Okay, cut. Take 31.
So, is that enough now?
No, listen, Bill.
I ain't gonna do this anymore. That's all for me. Goodbye.
Okay, I'm gonna see what we have to work with. Jesus Christ, man.